Being in extreme pain makes me extremely introspective and honest. Little Orange County brat. And I can only see that now because before I was so in my ego and in my head, right? But as I'm learning to listen to my intuition, the whole story makes sense now. So so we're dealing with the chronic illness, right? And everything that I need to shift in my life in order to change my life, to get my health back. So I moved to a country where 14 years ago, it truly felt for me as an American moving back to the 1975, like 1980. There was no dryer, no microwave, no dishwasher. And that's like my little bratty butt was like, what? Oh my God, I need a dishwasher. I'm not moving there unless you buy me a dryer. And he bought me a dryer. I never use the dryer anymore, and I will get to that in a second. The reason why I'm saying all this and the reason why I love doing the work that I do, and I'm a seeker of information because of that neurospicy in me, right? What I'm learning is before I couldn't see it, right? I'm not gonna future predict, and in my little bratty brain, there was no freaking way you were ever gonna tell me it was my soul's journey, it was my soul's plan. I legit remember someone saying to me, well, this was your journey, and like 15 years ago, I was like, what? Why would I choose this? Like, what the hell is wrong with you? I was like, are you psycho? And then I like literally named off all the horrific things I've been through. And I was like, who would choose this? So then let's fast forward, right? So now, after the pandemic and after dealing with chronic pain and illness since I'm in my 20s and I'm now 56, I have to be still. The world is going through some sort of insane shedding and rebirthing, right? And it's bumpy and it's scary because for a lot of us, none of us have ever had to do this before. And knowing myself now and knowing that I am open to the soul's journey, karmic stuff, shadow work, child work, like all of it. And if I know myself well enough, because that's so bougie sometimes, you can take the girl out of Newport Beach, but you can't take Newport Beach out of the girl sometimes. And then, of course, LA after that, right? So what I'm realizing is that if I were to have to go through all of this, like during COVID, without already learning to slow down and going through a separation, etc., like I would have had a nervous breakdown. Like, I think I could have died if I was still living in the States, right? Because my health, yes, it's getting better because I've been finally able to get perspective because I'm in a country where I get almost free medical care. And thank God I have access to private medical care, right? Private insurance. I'm forgetting my English and my whatever. So thank God for that because I can pay $150 a month. Now, Italy is just starting to come out with the bullcrap of pre-existings, but that didn't exist 14 years ago. It's only existed in the last few years. And so now I feel like, oh my God, this feels familiar. I'm getting the opportunity to redo it again. To not just put all of my trust into a system. I have to start listening to my body. The only way my ADHD autistic ass was ever gonna get to listen was you were gonna put me in a town of 44,000, but then there's where it comes in the Newport girl. See, my whole story gets all over the place, but if you're ADHD, I know you can keep up with me. So then the detail of the Newport is, I know if I was planning the soul's journey, I would have been like, what do you mean I have to live alone? But first I have to go to a prison and narcissism for 10 years. And what do you mean I have to move to a foreign country without my friends and family? Blah, blah, blah. And I know I would have been like, okay, where? And they were probably like, okay, Rome for 10 years. And I was like, okay, fine. And then where after that? Oh, you're going to go to the mountains of Italy. I know myself well enough to know that I would have been like, oh, okay, fine, I can do that. And the reason why I'm saying all of this is because when you are quiet enough to get perspective and to start to listen, the whole story makes sense. If I had to come out and find at 52 years old that I had ADHD, right? And I found out some information about my mother's real father and where some sort of trauma in the history unfolds. How would I have been able to handle all of that, dealing with all of my medical stuff and then the pressure of still living in LA and everything around me? I would have been literally crippled, like literally. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because I went the long, difficult, tried not to deal with way until I was actually forced into it. And the reason and the shortcuts that I'm giving you is so that you don't have to do everything that I did, is it's all about the mindset, right? So my ADHD butt, I literally took this super long route to avoid doing this work. Now that I'm doing this work, what I'm truly understanding is that it truly is about the thoughts in your head. It's about your mindset. It is about your belief system. It's not about all the outside conditioning. I'm not telling you or being disrespectful in your beliefs. I'm just asking you to observe them, to remind yourself, because we all are evolving, right? To remind yourself if it's still where you're at, or you're evolving, or you believe more and you want to expand. I want you to start questioning your decisions. The questioning is where the juicy nuggets are. The observing is going, oh, wait, you mean I'm not a victim? Like, I played a part in that? And so what I'm learning is, like, even today, the back was so bad. But I know that the only way I can rest, and I'm still working at it, even if I'm coaching or whatever, I am not perfect, nor do I claim to be. But I had to make some accommodations for myself. So I'm just gonna go around the block, a short block for the dogs, because they give me anxieties, although they go on wee-wee pads at the house. They give me anxieties every time I move. Vito's always like, are we going for a walk? Are we going for a walk? And then my body tenses up. So I'm learning how to listen more, right? But without doing more damage. And then some people go, well, if your back hurts, you just can't. Yeah, that's my old thinking. And that may still work for you, because that used to work for me when I was in that timeline of thinking, right? But now what's happening for me is I'm like, okay, as long as the house is clean, and I'm not saying like perfectly clean, but trash cans are emptied, house is clean, dogs are walked, hella cute. I put in some Brussels sprouts in the oven while I left. Oh my God, I'm so grown up. That's so cool. I get like my dinner waiting. How fun is that? But it took me, and I forgot what I was talking about, so I'm starting on a new subject. It took me a second, 56 seconds actually, seconds, years, same, to realize that I was in the driver's seat the whole time. I just kept recalculating my route. I just kept allowing myself to get redirected. And yes, of course it was part of the ADHD and the autism, but this is also what I'm learning. Why do I have to fill in the fodder for every freaking thing? And that's what I'm learning to break free from. Is that, well, that's because that's what used to work for me to calm down my anxiety. Because before I can be calm, I have to know the how, because I'm neurodivergent. I need to know how the machine works. And so what I'm saying is I had to go back to the basics and relearn like a child. And for you, what you have to do is you have to just start implementing a mindset. First, I would say be silent, shut the F up, and be observant without judgment. That is the biggest challenge, is to not judge what you're observing. And so when you start being an observant, and you get rid of your own anxiety about not judging yourself about what you're observing, or maybe what you don't even like about you, because I'm really good at now observing my own behavior without judging it. And most of the time, 90% of the time, I'm happy with who I am. Easy to say because I'm alone all the time. But with clients and how I show up on social media, but I'm learning that I have to show up more, and that I'm still a little bit hiding. And I'm figuring out why I need to hide. I know that's part of the neurospicy, right? And I get that. And I've worked through that. Now that I've worked through that, and I've given myself 4 full years of a million rabbit holes, what I have learned is that really ultimately going through these steps is sometimes what we all have to do. It looks different for everyone, but it's so important to find the peace as you're going to where it is, as you're going to where it is you want to go. Because where I'm going and where you're going, different places. Even if we were partners, my reasoning for going from point A to point B might be different than my partner's, and I have to be okay with that. It's about finding happiness and joy within your own self and stop looking out to others as it's their job to fulfill you in your life. I'm not saying all the other stuff because I could go really in that route, but that's not what this video is about. I don't even really understand how to receive fully, if I'm being honest. It's physically fucking painful. Like literally hurts my heart so bad sometimes to receive. The idea, how sad is it that the idea that someone thinks of me is painful? It just makes you go, oh wait, and then I found someone who didn't love me the way I didn't know how to be loved. Right? Instead of adding a piece of shit, fuck him, he was at, no. The real gold and the nuggets and the learning is figuring out why you allowed it, why you stayed in it, why you chose it, so that we don't keep repeating it. So then as I'm getting back to the house, it brings me back to Italy and what Italy has taught me. And I'm gonna give you some little nuggets that I think are so funny. Italy has taught me that, I used to be so snobby, I didn't understand why Italians, a lot of them have a door to their kitchen. And I was like, yo, what's with that? And they don't like the smell of food in their house. And I was like, oh my God, that's the best feeling as a kid growing up. I loved coming home, smelling my mom's cooking. And now today when I was leaving, I opened the kitchen door and closed the door to the house to take the smell of the food out. And then you go, oh my God, it's happening. I'm becoming one of them. Oh, and the other thing that I was going to tell you is, yeah, that dryer that I demanded was like, I'm not moving there unless you get me a dryer. I have a dryer in this apartment. I've never used it once. I don't like it. But isn't it shocking? But it's not. So see how all the other conversations that I started come back in a circle. It's not shocking that Yuka app for my health, I literally had to get rid of everything, microwave, like haven't had a microwave in 14 years. Literally like all the dishwashing tablet, like so many things that I was already used to from living in this country because they had not yet been hit by capitalism and consumerism. They're only starting it now. So we have these big Chinese stores and they're huge. Before that used to get me pitter patter. Oh my God. It would have a hold on me like Bed Bath and Beyond. I go in for one thing and I leave with one thing, but that took me 14 years. So imagine now I'm adjusted to what low demand is because I've had to because of my food limitations and my allergies and my pain. So, but I'm in a country that's conducive for that. Again, there's nothing different about this country than your country other than the mindset. So you go, oh, culturally, but listen, people make fun of me all the time because my ex-husband always like makes fun. He goes, what country are you living in? I go, I have no idea. I don't think of it like that, right? And so when you're in your mind, you can be anywhere. Whether it's true, false, whatever, it's a mindset. It's a programming. It's like going to the gym. It's not about false. It's just about finding the truth for you, like what it looks like for you. What's true for me is not going to be true for you at all. We may agree on some things, but how we got to that agreement is so different. So you'll start learning to let yourself off the hook. You'll start learning to give yourself some grace. You'll start learning that it's not your job when you're not working and in pain to gaslight yourself that, oh my God, I'm such a loser and I should be working right now. Blah, blah, blah. I'm still working on that horrible, horrible self-talk, child. And so I need to remind you that that's all that is self-talk. That's conditioning. That's the stories we tell ourselves. It's not true. Because it's not true. Because if how you got to point A to point B is different than me, then how's it about all the other people out there? It may be true for them, but I'm just talking about mindset here. I'm talking about your belief system. Do you still believe all the things you believe, or do you still believe it because that's what society tells you to believe? That is what I got for you. So thank you for joining me on this conversation. And I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day. And I would love it if you could give me a like, a subscribe, and a follow. And if you like this, maybe share it with a friend. Just listen while you're driving or walking. because I think these conversations are really important. Ciao.